watching 4-Color Commentary. I'm Mark Allen, and this is another edition of Gimmicks and Obscurities. And I tried to do this last night, had technical difficulties that I didn't realize I was having until the entire video was done already, and I didn't have the time or the energy to do it again. So here we are, and just Gimmicks and Obscurities, and I wanted to just go through a few of my books and realized that it had been 3 months. It's been 3 months since the Gimmicks and Obscurities. So it was time for that again. I will tell you, gimmicks are heavy in this one. Lots of shine, lots of bling. And you know what I mean when I say bling. I just mean shine. I don't mean they're worth a lot of money or nothing, anything like that, because most of them are not these days. The 90s, most of the 90s glimmering, shimmering, shiny covers, they're not worth a whole lot. That's the great thing about them, though, because those that you didn't want to buy the new prices for, or especially the jacked up back issue prices for them, you can get now on eBay for a pittance. Okay, so many of them. So anyway, I wanted to start though with something that I'd never seen before. This is a 1984 comic, I believe, 4-issue miniseries. The cover is glorious in its ridiculous nature, but it is this is a black and white interior comic with art by both Brian Boland and Dave Gibbons. Wonderful, wonderful artists in their own right. 1988. I said 1984, 1988. This is Power Comics. Look at that ridiculously great costume that this guy has on. The red tights, the white cape, and the leopard skin shorts. You just can't do any better than that. Plus, you got the blue furred horned alien there going after. But something about that logo and and of course the wonderful art. You know, just the Brian Boland cover, or is that a Dave Gibbons cover? Hard to tell, but because it is early work. But anyway, like I say, first story, black and white interiors, Brian Boland, and then also a black and white story by Dave Gibbons. Great stuff. And so anyway, picked that up, and I thought, my goodness, something spoke to me with that. That comic spoke to me somehow on some level, just artistically. And I thought, well, I'm going to have to get, that is number 3. I'm going to have to get 1, 2, and 4, and then read that story and see if it's as good as it looks, or if it just looks good. All right. So anyway, now this next one, this is that was obscure. These are kind of obscure because these are the first works, the first professional works of one of my favorite artists of all time. And I discovered these in the dollar box. Most of these would be from dollar box or something like that. But discovered these in the dollar box. Recognized his work from off the, right off the bat, even though it was early work. But Tom Grummett. Tom Grummett is one of my all-time favorite artists. I first discovered him when he was doing Teen Titans back in the 90s. Loved his work. He was really hitting his stride when he was doing the Superboy series. He had done some Superman as well along the way, but did some Superboy series. And the Superboy series was great. And he does various work for Marvel now. But the Privateers, issues 1 and 2, the Privateers, this was his first professional work. And you can tell, if you're a Tom Grummett head, you can see the Grummett in that work, even though it's early stuff. You can see it. And so, anyway, the Privateers, Tom Grummett stuff. It's Tom Grummett's work early on. Loved it. His first professional work. Now, this next one is a gimmick comic, and most people are familiar with Malibu Comics from the 90s. They're familiar with the comic series The Protectors. And what this comic is that was written by a guy from Tulsa, Oklahoma, who's worked in comics for years, R.A. Jones. Now, R.A. also worked for years at a local comic shop in Tulsa called Starbase 21, which sadly now is no more. But R.A. wrote this series, and the really cool thing about this series is the hero on the front has been shot in the chest, bullet hole in the chest. It's a die cut cover with a hole right in the middle, and a little bit not spoiler alert, warning, graphic warning here, some blood, but kind of a graphic image there. But there is Protectors number 5 with the bullet hole. There you go. Or I'm sure it's not an actual bullet hole, but a hole there in the middle of his chest and in the middle of the comic. Goes all the way through the comic, of course. But the really neat thing about this book, besides the nature of the gimmick cover, the die cut cover is RA. I had the RA sign this for me. It wasn't even at a show. It was one day when I walked into Starbase 21 in 1993, bought this off the rack, and RA was working there at the counter. RA, would you sign this for me? He did. To Mark, best wishes, R.A. Jones, 1993. So anyway, love that. R.A. is a great guy, and I see him on a semi-regular basis in Tulsa. I see him several times a year at a local comic shop, at comic shows, that kind of thing. Now, as I'm opening up this next one, which is a gimmick, which is some shiny stuff, a couple of stories came across my news feed yesterday. One of them from cosmicbook.news. Never heard of it. The cosmicbook.news, story that's probably a lot of bunk, but it was kind of cool to read. Marvel rumored to take over DC Comics. If you haven't seen that yet, go to cosmicbook.news and take a look at that. Marvel rumored to take over DC Comics, and just kind of read that for entertainment's sake. I'll go on with that here in a minute, but yeah, I didn't read. I read a couple of the Valiant titles back in the 90s when Valiant came along. I read Exo Man of War, and I read what was the other one? I read another one. It's made such an impression on me that I can't forget. Oh, Solar, Man of the Atom. But what I always liked was the chromium covers. Well, here's a book I never read a single issue of, but when you find this in the dollar box, you pick it up. If you like shiny stuff, Psylords #1. Look at that chromium goodness right there. Nobody cares, but I do. It's shiny, it's nice, it's bright. Love it. So anyway, put that story up on a local Northeast Oklahoma comic book swap Facebook page, and Marvel rumored to take over DC Comics, and as a result, a friend of mine who works for the Tulsa World, Jimmy Trammell, posted another story that you might want to go and read. It was actually one that was published in the Tulsa World several years ago. TulsaWorld.com, and here's how the title of the story reads: Pop Culture, what if former Marvel boss Jim Shooter was in charge of DC? I won't give you any spoiler warnings, but evidently it almost happened. But a neat story. Go and read that, and just something to kind of get your what if juices flowing a little bit. What if Marvel took over some of the characters at DC? Be pretty cool, I think. Not so much the other way, but I'm a Marvel guy. Okay, so I don't know, Punisher volume, who knows? This says Punisher volume 1, #1. That can't be, because this was after the original limited series. But anyway, and it was after the first series as well. That's weird. Punisher volume 1, #1. Well, anyway, it was published in 1995. This is the series that had Tom Lyle as the regular penciler. Punisher #1. Look at that wonderfully shiny cover there. Love that foil cover with Frank getting lit up in the electric chair. So also had one of those things that I never could see the image in those. But anyway, so love that. My goodness, how did that get in the stack? Okay, I didn't mean to get this in the stack, but I'll show it anyway. This is the Punisher series that no one cares about, but it did have a beautiful Wrightson cover on the front. The Punisher, the Marvel Knights Punisher there, and I don't get that. I never read more than the first issue. Somehow he gets supernatural powers and goes after demons, I think. Anyway, everybody quickly forgot about that one. This next one is actually Punisher #61, Punisher War Journal #61. More foily, shiny, blingy goodness. Love it. Love the broken glass kind of action going on there as a crazed Punisher pours bullets into the glass there. I love that. So great stuff. Now this next one, a friend gave me or sold me for $1. I can't remember. He did, because this particular comic had a Kerry Gamble cover on it. I am a fan of Kerry Gamble's work. He did great stuff on Superman in the late 80s, early 90s, or maybe just late 80s, but it was Action Comics, I believe. But Kerry Gamble just had this great Marvel-esque action-oriented style. Looked like he could have gone to the Marvel School of Drawing. But anyway, Renegade Rabbit, issue 1. The good, the bad, and the furry. And has a nice little Clint Eastwood salute there. And, you know, honestly, I don't know what happens in this book. I haven't read it. Bought it for the cover. And then there's interesting looking alien on the back there. And I don't know who drew that, but it wasn't, it wasn't Kerry Gamble. So anyway, interesting book there, Renegade Rabbit. I don't even know if there was another issue published or not. But now these next ones, a little bit of history here, or background. Rising Stars, big popular series in the 90s. I think it went 24, 25 issues. Rising Stars, J. Michael Straczynski, baby. Straczynski. Can't believe to this day that there hasn't been something TV-wise or movie-wise done with this property. I still expect there will one day. There will be. And if that happens, I'll probably have to get rid of some of these books. But the thing about Rising Stars is they published a tremendous number of covers. It's amazing how many variants and gimmick covers there were. And I'm just going to go through some of them, starting with the preview. You had this wonderful convention exclusive. I don't know what convention. I don't think it told on the inside. No, see, it didn't say what convention on the inside, front, or back cover. So I don't know what convention it was. Somebody out there can maybe tell me when you see it. But Rising Stars convention exclusive with that shiny gold foil logo. Look at that. That's awesome. Love that. And so, there's the start. I mean, starting with the preview, you started having these gimmick covers. Next, not just the preview. We're not even in issue one yet. There's the prelude. The prelude. And the prelude also is actually a Dynamic Forces exclusive. And it also has the shiny gold logo foil. Nice. Goodness. Wonderful stuff. Wonderful, wonderful. Oh, certificate of authenticity. Those are good. People like those. I don't really care. But when you get them for a buck or less or more, maybe a little bit more. Actually, when I go through all these, all the gimmick covers, I misnomer there. They weren't all a buck. Some of these I got for $1 at a couple of years ago at a Wizards Asylum, either Free Comic Book Day or a Black Friday sale. Free Comic Book Day or Black Friday sale, but it was when all the back issues were $1. Here's Rising Stars #1, and I believe, let's see, I don't know what how this was marketed, what it was marketed through, but it is some crazy cool foil prism cover. I don't know, but it's nice, and that's Rising Stars #1. The original, the first issue, at least one version of it had that just in the artwork, but that's the foil prism version. I don't know, but it's nice. And all of these, but all told, now like I said, I didn't get them all for $1, but all told, these just to tell you how affordable some of these crazy 90s books are now. I didn't spend more than 40, 50 bucks for all of them, because some of them came from eBay, some of them came from shops, that kind of thing. This is let's see, Rising Stars #2, and it is Rising Stars issue 2. This is a Dynamic Forces exclusive with a smaller gold foil logo and the seal, and love that. More room for the artwork, which is kind of cool. I like that. Like when they do that on the covers. Now the next Rising Stars is actually a version of issue 7. It has the same artwork, okay, as the original issue 7, but it is also another Dynamic Forces exclusive with certificate, with the shiny sticker there, but this one has the kind of a hollow foil with the rainbow. Look at her eyes. Check out her eyes. Yeah, nice. Okay, but that's just beautiful. Now something has happened with the cover is slightly thicker than on your normal comics. I mean, not slightly, but even slightly thicker cardstock. And it tends to warp a bit. I'm not sure why. I'm going to say that's typical on this particular comic. I don't know why, but it just does. But it's still in nice shape and shines so well, so brightly, so pretty. Okay, so that's issue number 7. I should have pulled up one of my comic apps to tell me what type of covers each of these are, but I didn't. Anyway, this is issue number 12, Rising Stars issue number 12. This is a Monster Mart exclusive. Never even heard of Monster Mart before this, but another one of those rainbowy holofoil. I don't know what you call them. All I know is they shiny. And so this number 12, wonderful cover there. Beautiful cover. Beautiful cover. All right. And then one more Rising Stars book. It is, I told you this was mostly gimmicks. One more Rising Stars book with no certificate of authenticity, but issue number 13 does have a wonderful gold foil logo. So there you go. Nice, pretty stuff, shiny stuff, and lots of bling. Lots of shiny bling. If shiny had a sound, I think it would be bling. So, bling bling. So anyway, one last book here. This book, I honestly don't remember where I got it. I know I got it. I know I didn't order it special. I got it off the rack. This was probably a couple of years after this 6 issue, I don't remember. Limited series by Dark Horse, which took 2 amazing movie properties and crossed them over. No, not Aliens versus Predator. All right. But RoboCop versus Terminator. Now, once again, this cover, a little bit thicker cardstock than on most trade paperbacks. All right. And when I looked this up on eBay, you can only find a precious few of them, and people want unbelievable amounts for them. I don't know that they're worth that, but they were evidently pretty rare. They were a Star System exclusive, and done in conjunction with Diamond Comic Distributors. Star System exclusive, Diamond Comics Distributors. This one's still, of course, in nice shape, and it's got that wonderful, Walt Simonson art. But here's the thing: these things it has inserts, has stand-ups. You got a RoboCop stand-up. You can cut it out. You wouldn't dare, would you? Cut it out, stand it up. You have a Terminator cut out, stand up, and then you have the woman who also appeared in this book. Who knows who she is? With her big gun, cut out, stand up. All right, and so that's what you have in there. I'm sure that's part of the reason why they are why this is a considered highly desirable by some. But anyway, it is the RoboCop Terminator trade paperback, the Star System exclusive trade. And like I say, I like it. I like the cover. I love the story. And it's kind of a hard story to find collected anyway, if you don't go on eBay. I don't search on eBay a lot just because it's just too easy to get what you want. Now, if it's something I know I'm never going to find in the wild, or I don't suspect I'll find in the wild, I'll get it. In fact, I'm very close to assembling a series that I'm going to share very soon on a video that I know I can't find in the wild. I've only found one in the 20 years I've had the series one time, sold it, now I've reacquired it to never sell it again. But I will tell you, it involves one Basil Wolverton. That's all I'll say. If you know who he is, you know who he is. If you don't, go find out. But I'll share that. I'm going to share that even though I'll be one book short. But anyway, I like the rare stuff, and I like looking for it. If I think there's any chance of finding it in the wild, I'll go out and look for it. If I don't, I'll hit eBay and find it there. But anyway, it's fun to hunt. Anyway, that's it. Hey, thanks for watching 4-Color Commentary. If you haven't yet, you ought to subscribe. I'd love for you to subscribe. I appreciate that so many have up to this point. Like the video, and come back again and share some comic book time with me. But anyway, thanks for coming to 4-Color Commentary. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next video.